Welcome to the That's Life podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Makita.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of That's Life, the podcast where I sit down and have a conversation with all of you and discuss things that are going on in life. This is the second episode that I've had since we kind of did a little bit of a hiatus away, where I admitted in the last episode where it was tough to get back on the microphone. It's tough to get out there and have conversations and talk about living your best life when you feel like everything's crumbling all around you. So you have to get yourself in the right place, in the right frame of mind to be able to move forward. And to be quite honest with you, I'm worth that investment. I'm worth taking the time to invest in myself. I'm worth taking the time to be able to give myself some therapy or some ability to be able to sit down and get my thoughts out there and talk about things and discuss things and all the good stuff, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we all need that. It's one of the reasons why people go to therapy. I mean, unless you're an anti-therapy person, think about that. You go to therapy, you sit down, you want to have a conversation, you are feeling a way about certain things, you're feeling a way about whether it's finances or relationships or whatever, and you have to get these thoughts out there. Now, the therapist isn't there to be able to give you all solutions, right? They're not there to be able to say, well, you need to do the following things and following and this and this and this and this. The therapist is there to listen. The therapist is there to give advice, maybe talk it through, maybe even have you have these moments of clarity when you're sitting in the chair or you're sitting in the room talking to your therapist and trying to discuss what to do moving forward and how to be the best version of you and all these things, right? So therapy, as many of you know, I'm a huge advocate for therapy, especially for men. Now, a lot of women that I know in my life are more willing and more apt to going to therapy because it's okay if they go talk about their feelings a lot of times. It's all right. As a matter of fact, a lot of times if you're in a relationship with a woman that is comfortable in her own skin, she'll talk about her problems all the time, right? Like, here you go. This is what it is. This is what I'm not agreeing with. This is what I don't like, et cetera, which is an amazing quality. But men, we decide to shut down. We decide to quiet down. We're not going to talk to you about that. That means I'm going to be weak. If I come to you with my problems, I'm weak. I'm less than if I tell you what my issues are. And so men fall into this trap where they then start to harbor all these feelings. They bury everything so deep into the doldrums of their mind, of their psyche, and their bodies, and whatever else, until oftentimes it's too late. And life comes down on them, and we already see what the suicide rate is for men across the board, which almost doubles the amount of all others because they're scared or they're afraid of looking weak and incompetent and all these things, right? So I know I went down this trail just now of a therapist, but that's what this podcast does for me. Because not only do I seek therapy, but this is my therapy. For me to have the feeling and knowledge of knowing that each one of you are sitting there with my voice in your ears and we're having conversation. In my mind, we're having a conversation. I feel like you're talking back to me, right? We're having conversation, dialogue, or whatever. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we are just connecting on a higher level. We're connecting in a way for people to understand that we are not alone. And at the end of the day, that's a big deal, right? For us not to feel like we're alone is communal. It's something where I know somebody else has either gone through what I'm going through, are going to go through what I've already gone through, or if I feel like the world is coming down on me, I can ask questions and be able to get tips and pointers and be able to learn from each other and all those things. Community is so important in life. And this is my community. A lot of you are my community, and I appreciate that very much. You know, one of the things I was sitting back and thinking about before I started to record today, I was thinking about hard work, grit, and determination. A lot of us go through life, we're sitting here, we're trying to be able to accomplish things, we're trying to be able to move the needle in the space of being somebody that's successful or somebody that is driven or somebody that whether it's financial or work related or anything, just in life, right? We all want to be successful. We all want to have a little bit of that success, that ability to be able to step back and go, you know what? I did that. I accomplished that. I'm the one that did all of that. And I think that's a really important piece to be there because, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get through life. We're all just trying to get through life. And when life deals you hard cards or hard things, it takes grit and determination for us to be able to say, I'm going to be able to fight through that. I got to dig deep. I got to be able to understand the reasons why. I got to see why I got to the place where I got to. And I also have to understand the whys of why I want to fight and continue to push forward in breaking out of the cycle that normally just keeps on going over and over and over again and repeating itself. So grit and determination are a really, really big thing, right? If you're a parent and your kid is going through something, right? They're dealing with a bully, or they're having bad grades, or the social aspect of things, or depression, or all those things that teenagers do, right? They all go through all this stuff. And you, as a parent, if you're a good parent, will fight like hell for those kids. And you're determined to make sure that those kids have a path that's going to take them to success, or a path to healing, or a path of a place to go to be able to discuss things, or to vent and get it off your chest, or anything like that. We fight like hell for those that we love. Our children, our parents, grandparents, even cousins, anybody like that. So even if they're not blood family, but other members that are really close to you, so your true friends, the people that your ride or dies or whatever, you would drop everything you have to do to be able to go be there for somebody when they need you most. If you get that late night call from a friend that says, I'm not having a good night right now, I'm struggling. You drop everything. You put on your PJs and your kerchief and your hat, and you run down the road, or get in your car and you take off to go to your friend's house, or you pick up the camera on the phone and use FaceTime or whatever it is. But you'll do anything you can for that other individual to be taken care of, and to know that they're loved and they're cherished and they're valued, and all those things. We'll do it for all these people. I would jump in front of a car to make sure that my son's safety was okay. I would take a bullet to make sure that my wife was okay. Because these are people that I love and I care about. My sister, my mother, all these people that I love and care about in my family, all over the place. Because that's what we do. And we're okay doing that for other individuals. But the concept that I'm talking about here on this podcast is, why aren't we willing to fight like hell for ourselves? The same way that we fight like hell for others. I will automatically, all you have to do is say the words and say, hey, my son's name is Gavin, of course. And all you have to say is, hey, Gavin had a struggle with this, or Gavin's on the side of a road. The truck is broke down, or he's in trouble right now, or he got put in the overnight tank, or whatever. I'm just making up stuff, whatever. But I would do anything for him. I will jump through hoops and pretty much die for that kid, because he's worth that to me. My wife, who is the absolute rock star of my life, is the supporting cast that I have behind me with all of my silly adventures that I go on, all the recordings that I'm doing, me still trying to find jobs, all the things. Her support is absolutely necessary for me to be successful. And so knowing how much she supports me, and know how much of a better half that she is to me, at the end of the day, I'm going to do the same thing for her no matter what. If I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to get off that deathbed, and I'm going to go and take care of this woman that has chosen to spend the last 20 some odd years with me, because that's how important they are to me. But when I look at the whole grand scheme of things and I say, how important are you to yourself? How important am I to me? I don't rank even a quarter of the amount that I do my other loved ones in my family. I don't rank high at all. As a matter of fact, oftentimes I have to convince myself or talk myself into it, or look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? You're pretty awesome. You're working hard. You got this, man. You got this. And you know what? We're going to do everything that we can to be able to make sure that we're going to be successful. I have to convince myself of that because human nature kicks in and our own worst critic selves is literally breaking ourselves down to a place where we don't want to be disappointed when bad things happen, but we also don't want to assume that good things will happen and then we'll be disappointed because it's not good enough or we expected the good. Oh, you know how it goes. The human psyche, the human aspect of things, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we beat ourselves down, all those things. Why don't I have the need or the want to fight for me the same way I would fight for my child or my wife? Why? And I dig into this a lot. I think about this a lot. And I'm sure many of you that are listening to this podcast right now are thinking to yourself, I get that. I relate to that because I don't rank myself high enough to be able to give myself the tools that are necessary for me to be successful moving forward, no matter what, because I go on the back burner. Here's the first thing. One of the things that happens to me a lot of times is I'm on the back burner. If something else comes up, I prioritize the other things first before I prioritize myself. How my wife is feeling, how she's doing for the day. If she's not doing very well, I'm going to do everything I can to be able to make sure that she feels better. I want to make sure I'm there to help her. I want to make sure that she's taken care of. I want to make sure that whatever she's asking me to do, if I get a little to-do list or a husband to-do list, I'm going to make sure I got to get on that. I got to take care of that to-do list. I got to do whatever it takes for me to be able to make her happy and to make sure that she's taken care of from top to bottom, fully from side to side, et cetera, yet I won't do the same for myself. Because I'm not a priority. I'm not the priority in my life. So here's something you can do. Are you a priority in your life? Ask yourself that question. Because I think once we can find and get to a spot where we believe in ourselves, we lift ourselves up, we hold ourselves accountable, we encourage ourselves to be the best version of who we need to be, across the board, we can achieve anything. But I think that's where the issue happens. I think this is where we struggle because we don't hype ourselves up. I'm a hype man for everybody else. I'll stand on the sidelines. I'll sit there and I'll toot the horns and I'll talk into the megaphone and go oosh, 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 oosh across the board. I'll do all that, right? And I'll hype you up and I'll make you feel like you're on top of the world. And I'm going to make sure that kindness matters. And I'm going to tell you how great your outfit looks. I'm going to tell you how great of a job you're doing. I'm going to lift you up and encourage you because I know the more that you are successful, the more I will feel successful because I'm looking at you going, yes, we're doing this. Let's get this. Yet when I look at myself, what do I say? Do I have the same oonks, 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 oonks mentality? Or do I have the mentality of, you've done this before and you failed. You know what? Don't get your hopes up because you're going to probably fail on this one too. Or whatever. I can come to you with 50,000 different reasons of why we do what we do, right? I can just lay them all out there, and every one of you can relate to every one of the excuses that I have. I'm too tired. Oh, I got so much going on. Listen, I want to make sure everybody else is taken care of first, or even just as something as simple as going to the doctor for a physical. I don't want to do that. Nothing's wrong, whatever, man. And then what happens when we get sick finally, then we go to the hospital. We could have been preventive. We could have been somebody that's standing up for ourselves. We could have been somebody that's saying, go to the hospital, be preventive. Get in front of something that might happen to you first before you get to anything else, right? Like, why aren't we investing in ourselves the same way we are going to invest in other people or other things that matter to us? That's just it. We need to start mattering to ourselves. Now, that's difficult to do because if you don't already rate yourself higher, this is going to take work, time, and energy. And do we have that time and energy to invest in ourselves? More often than not, we use the excuse of no, we don't. And we don't invest in ourselves the way we should. Hey, guys. One of the things that I get from a lot of individuals that listen to the show, that watch the show, that follow me on social media is, how can I help the podcast? Well, here's one of the ways that you can. I have a Patreon page. Now, you may not be familiar with what a Patreon page is, but what you can do is you can sign up to become a patron of the show. You could donate monthly to the show. Now, after a few months of donating monthly to the show, there's different tiers to be able to donate to. But you'll get some tchotchkes back. You'll get some merchandise back. You'll get something for actually donating to the show. But in the meantime, it helps to alleviate some of the cost that comes into running a podcast or doing different stuff. So if you're looking to support, I'm going to place the link of the Patreon page right into the bio. And I'll also tell you what it is. It's www.patreon.com/that's_life. And this way, you can support the podcast, you can give back, we can do all kinds of different stuff, and we can grow together. So I appreciate all the support you've given me in the past and in the future and right now. So thank you so much, and back to the show. Now, you might ask what investment might look like, right? So if I'm investing in others and I'm taking a look at how I treat myself and how I look at myself in the mirror, when I'm looking in the mirror or when I'm looking at anything, right? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't have to be the figurative mirror that we're looking at, but it's literally, how do I look at myself? How do I view myself? And like I said, right before we took that little break there, you have to look at yourself and go, okay, how do I invest in myself and how do I grow in this space? Because I'm not good at it. I've never been trained to be good at it. Society doesn't help me get good at it. I've never been talked to about nobody's ever walked me through one, talk about your feelings or how you're going to be able to map that out. Maybe when I was in elementary school or middle school or things like that. But as you grow as an adult, you kind of have to figure things out on your own unless you have somebody that's really, really, truly supportive. But at the end of the day, a lot of us don't have that emotional, mental connection with somebody to be able to understand that, right? So it takes work. It's going to take energy. It takes effort. It takes work. It takes time. It takes all of it. It takes your resources, all of it combined for us to get to a place where I now need to start to prioritize myself higher on the list rather than everybody else ahead of me. Now, I understand the whole aspect of putting other people's mask on first before you put your mask on first before you can help others. I'm sorry. It's the same concept as that, right? But at the end of the day, why aren't we doing that in life? Why don't we put our mask on first so that way we can help other individuals? Because it's a natural instinct. If you are a caring, empathetic, loving individual, you're going to take care of other individuals first before you take care of yourself. And that's a travesty. We're only on this earth for a short damn amount of time. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, we're not encouraging ourselves to live the fullest life that we can, to maximize our opportunities, to create impacts, to live fully with those all around you, to do everything you can, and not let life break you down into a point where you crawl into depression or you get quiet or you get silent or anything like that. We got to work on ways to making sure that we can invest in ourselves. So one of the things that I've been recently doing, and I want to share this with you, the reason that I'm bringing this up on this podcast is because of this. Every day, I have now made an effort, probably for the last maybe 3 weeks or so. I make an effort every single day, right around noontime. It's around lunch, right in the middle of the day when I got stuff going on in the morning and, got stuff going to be happening in the afternoon. But every day I have a little calendar appointment. It goes beep, 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 and goes off in the daytime. And all the title is compliments. It's all it says. And what I need to do at that time when that alarm goes off is I need to sit down and I need to reflect. I need to reflect on how my day is going. I need to reflect on how my week is going. I need to also, in that moment, give myself 1 or 2 compliments about things that I have done today, that I've been successful, even if they are minuscule little things. Complimenting yourself is something that we struggle with. I've done this exercise before where I've asked people on my live or on social media, and I've had the conversation where I've said, I want you to put down in the comments 1 word that it compliments you, 1 thing that you have done well today. I want you to compliment yourself. I want you to be able to do it. You would think that I'm asking for them to rewrite the Declaration of Independence. It's so difficult for people to understand the concept of being complimentary to yourself. because we're so used to degrading ourselves and beating ourselves down. Now, there's goods and bads to that, right? Professional athletes like Michael Jordan, when he would practice his free throws over and over and over and over and over again, one of the best, most prolific shooters we'll ever know in the game of the National Basketball Association. And he never stopped practicing because he never thought he was really, truly good enough to be able to get there. So he was always practicing to be better, to be better, to be better, to be better, to be better all the time, right? So that's not necessarily a bad thing. But in our space, I'm not a professional athlete. And if I continue to beat myself down and tell myself that I'm less than, guess what happens to me? Michael Jordan can overcome that adversity. Michael Jordan can overcome that part of being that whole self-doubt aspect of it. I am a human being, a normal kind of run-of-the-mill kind of guy. And if I beat myself up over and over and over and over again, guess what happens? I start to believe it. I start to believe that I can't do it. I start to believe that I'm less than. I start to believe all the negative things that I can lay out there and the things that I know that I can't do anymore because I'm telling myself this. I'm convincing myself that I can't. Now, it's easy for me to go down the road of convincing myself that I can't, but it's so difficult to turn that bus around to be able to convince myself that I can. It's so hard to dive into, in the society that we live in today, being the negative society that we live in. It's all about self-control. It's all about gluttonous behaviors. It's all about what you see in the magazines. How do you look in the magazines? Are you a model type? It's all about fat shaming. It's all about bullying. It's all the terms you can think of across the board in society today rears its ugly head when you start to try to compliment yourself and be complimentary of your journey and the things you're trying to accomplish. Because I can tell you this much. People that matter in your life, people that are the true friends, the ones that try to lift you up when you're down, the ones that reach out to you when you go quiet, the ones that will reach out to you just to tell you I love you, the ones that will just send a quick message to you to be able, out of the blue, to be able to do whatever, those people look at you with very high regard. Those individuals look at you like you are the bee's knees. You are a gold bar. Do you know why? Because your actions prove to them that you're worthy. And you don't even realize you're doing it. If you're kind, if you're loving, if you're encouraging, if you lift somebody up, if you are there for somebody, you're loyal, all these things. All these things matter. And those other individuals look at you with very high esteem, their high regards. They put you way up at the top of their pedestal. And do you know why? Because you are doing it. But you don't even look at yourself that way, and you're the one that's actually doing the good behaviors. You don't even realize that you're a kind individual sometimes. You don't even realize that you're a giving individual, that you do everything you can to be able to take care of somebody or put food on their table or put clothes on their back, or you do whatever it is. You volunteer, you do all the things that you kind of find naturally that's there. You can't even list them down as being complimentary because they're just, okay, that's just what I do. How about you stop in the moment and you say to yourself, damn, there's not a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing. I talk about this from personal experience where I say to myself, I don't feel like I'm worthy of compliments sometimes. I speak from my own perspective, my own POV. This is me, right? I'm here, raw, vulnerable, just laying it out there for you to understand that I have a hard time complimenting myself. Yet if I start to actually take inventory of the things that I do, not only for myself, I should say less for myself than others, but until 3 weeks ago when I started to actually compliment myself and putting it on my agenda to make sure that I know, part of that process is taking inventory of the things that I'm doing right and the things that I'm doing well, such as volunteering, such as on the 30th of this month, the day before Halloween, I'm going to be doing a 12-hour live marathon radio show on TikTok to be able to play music and raise money. Now, what am I raising money for? Oh, I'd love to be raising the money for myself. I don't get paid for it. But no, I'm not. I'm raising money for charitable organizations and for local shelters around the area because up in Maine, as we all know, it gets really, really, really cold. And when it gets really, really, really cold, our homeless vets, our homeless individuals, and I understand there's a lot of big cities that have these types of problems, and I understand that. I really do. And it's kind of the dynamic of where we're at socioeconomically and everything else across the board. But there are individuals that struggle, and there are individuals that are there. And if I have a little bit of the ability to be able to help those individuals, just to give them a jacket or some pants or some warm socks or warm gloves or a hat during the wintertime, or do whatever I've got to do to be able to continue to work forward, or I go volunteer at a soup kitchen, which I put on my calendar, or I go volunteer to clean at the Ronald McDonald House for the individuals that have kids and family that are sick at the hospital, that they have to stay at these facilities that are free room and board. I'm there to clean. I'm there to be able to outfit. I'm there to be able to replenish supplies, all the different things that I do voluntarily. At the end of the day, I wasn't taking that into consideration to understand how good of a person that I am. Why? Because a lot of times I'd look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm not doing enough. Or I would say things like, I know there's a lot of people that don't agree with the fact that we should be helping the homeless because they should be fending for themselves or going to get jobs. So then I get in my own head where I'm like, well, am I just adding to the situation? Am I just aiding somebody to continue to be homeless and not really giving them the tools or whatever to be successful in moving forward or trying to be able to find a job or get clean or those kind of things? All these doubts go into my head. Instead, I should just park in the space of knowing that I'm a good effing human being. I'm a good person that needs to stop doubting myself. I'm a good person that needs to stop being less than or feeling less than what I really am. And just call it for what it is. And on the other hand, if you are looking at that self-reflection and you're saying to yourself, I don't know of many good qualities that I have, then maybe it's time to change. Maybe it's time to dig in just a little bit deeper and say, how can I right size that? How can I take the car and put it back on the tracks of being a good individual, a human, a kind human, or anything like that? What steps do I need to take to be able to move forward? Who do I have to lean in on to be able to give me tools and resources for me to be the person that I truly want to become? So you can either take inventory, celebrate and lift yourself up for the things that you're doing, even for those that don't think that they have anything to celebrate or don't think that they have anything to compliment themselves with. I guarantee you there's something. How about the mental fortitude to be able to just get through life as it deals you shitty cards left and right? Over and over and over again, it just keeps on getting thrown at you. But you get up every day, you put your 2 feet on the ground, you brush off your shoulders, you put on your makeup, you tie up your hair, you do whatever you got to do to be able to go out there and make ends meet for the family, to make ends meet for wherever it is that you're going. You still put one foot in front of the other, even though you don't want to. That's a win. That's a compliment. That's a strength. And you need to focus on that to understand that is your superwoman or superman mentality. Overcome adversity to do the things that are necessary for you to be good moving forward, to be the best version of you moving forward. In the climate that we're in right now, and I understand a lot of people are out of jobs, a lot of people are really struggling to make ends meet, including myself. And we are in this space where all the external factors start to break us down and wear us down. This is where we have to dig in to be able to be at least a small, tiny flicker of a shining light in our lives. We need to be that small influence that we can be to be able to say, hey, you know what? I am good at this. I have overcome a lot. And all of those skills that I've learned throughout my life, as I'm looking and I'm complimenting myself for the things that I've done, I can use those to my advantage. I can use them as tools and resources to be able to move forward in a positive space or in a fruitful space or in an aggressive space to be able to get the things that I want, to be able to achieve the goals that I want to achieve, and to also be there for other individuals as well if that's a priority of mine. Guys, stop being such Debbie Downers about yourself. Stop being somebody that beats yourself down at all costs every single day. Rank yourself as high as your children. Rank yourself as high as your spouse. Rank yourself high as your parents. Whoever you have in your life that you love unconditionally and it would do anything for, that needs to be you. You need to start to understand that you are worthy of that love and that adoration. You are worthy of that investment that you want to make or that you need to make for you to be the best version of you. Take all the noise outside the world, all the stuff that's going on around you, and start to focus on you. Take 10 minutes per day, even if it's almost like a meditation phase. At noon, give yourself a little bit of quiet time of just sitting down. What did I do well so far this morning, and what do I want to accomplish this afternoon? Oh, I got up in the morning. I brushed my teeth. Win. I took a shower. Win. I gave my wife a kiss. Win. I told my kid I love him. Win. All these things that we have in our lives that we take for granted across the board, that we invest in every single day, those are wins, and those are celebrations, and those are moments to be able to recognize yourself for being a good human being. So let's get focused on that. Stop harboring on the negative and start to celebrate in some of the positives and the things that you do well, so that way you can continue to move forward in that space. Because I know, looking from afar about you, you're worth it. But I also know, looking from afar about me, I'm worth it as well. And if we can get in this headspace where we can lift each other up and encourage each other to be our positive critics for ourselves, to be able to lean in and be able to understand, to achieve greatness, we have to really focus on being a positive influence of greatness. Let's try that. All right, guys, much love to you all, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for listening to the That's Life podcast. Please leave us a 5-star rating and any feedback on whatever platform you're using.